Hi there, folks. Welcome to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and I'm tickled to death that you joined us today. We're going to have a great show. Our guest is Dr. Angela Daniels from Dalhart, Texas, and she's a veterinarian and owner of a veterinary, more than just a veterinary practice, as you're going to hear as we go along. But we're going to talk about lowering somatic cell counts in dairy herds. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Doc Talk, brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick. In Wamego, just a short drive down the yellow brick road.
Hi there, folks. Welcome to Doc Talk, and Dr. Daniels, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me here.
You bet. Folks, Dr. Angela Daniels is owner of Circle H Headquarters, which has 4 different types of businesses within this business entity: a veterinary practice, a diagnostic lab, a contract research company, and a DHIA testing facility. And Dr. Angela Daniels and I went to veterinary school together at Iowa State University. So
Many years ago.
Many years ago. So it's Old Home Week for us.
Yes.
And I'm
Homecoming.
I'm very, very thankful that you take the time to be on the show.
Well, thank you for having me here. What I would like to talk about today is lowering somatic cell counts.
You bet.
I primarily work with dairy farms in the Dalhart, Texas region, and the past 2 years we've been focusing on milk quality, and somatic cell counts certainly drive that. There are bonuses that are out there available and just waiting for the taking if we're able to have low somatic cell counts as well as other low parameters on dairies. And so we kind of see it as virtually free money out there for the taking.
You bet. So we have some non-farmer guests on the show. Let's back up a little bit here and let's talk about what somatic cell count means.
Right.
If I have a low or a high somatic cell count, what exactly is that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Somatic cells are just fancy words for white blood cells.
Okay.
And all milk has white blood cells in it because the body has a small army in it that's circulating around called our immune system. Mm-hmm. And if we've got a small infection going on in the mammary system, we're going to have more of the soldiers in the udder. So those are more of the white blood cells. Okay. And the real issue with that is they will lower the quality of milk and shorten the shelf life of milk. So we really want to keep those at bay. It's also an indicator that the milk that we're drinking is healthy.
Mm-hmm. So white blood cells, we want to keep them low.
Keep them low. And
it improves the shelf life of the product, but also improves the quality of the milk. Absolutely. All right. Well, now that we're on the same page, we got about a minute here before we go to break. What are some of the things that you know, when you first start out looking at somatic cell counts, what are some of the ranges that we're talking about?
Well, the range that you need to stay under to have bonus situations generally is under 200,000 cells per milliliter of milk. In the United States, the legal level is much higher than that, but in the European Union, we're looking at levels of 400,000 or 200,000 and below to be competitive with European targets.
So when we look at being able to provide more quality, that 200,000 tends to be more of a goal.
Absolutely.
Great.
A very attainable goal.
Absolutely. Well, when we come back from break, let's talk about how we might get there.
Sounds great.
Thanks for watching Doc Talk, and we'll be back in a minute. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Dr. Dan here. Whether I'm driving up and down the roads covering the state of Kansas or I'm getting between Riley and Manhattan for my job, I'm driving a Ford truck. I'd like you to come out and visit my friends here at Dick Edwards Ford. They have a truck that'll suit your needs, whether you're looking for power with a Power Stroke diesel, or if you're looking for fuel efficiency with the new EcoBoost engine, they got a truck that's just right for you. They're located 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall in Manhattan, Kansas, and they'll bend over backwards to help you. And I'll see you down the road.
Hi, I'm Deb Beisel and welcome to Historic Topeka Cemetery. Behind me is the grave of Alfred Gray, Secretary of Agriculture. That beautiful monument was dedicated to him by the grateful citizens of Kansas, and you can learn more about his story and those other folks who have done so much for Kansas agriculture by joining the Friends of Historic Topeka Cemetery.
In a feedlot situation, we use multi-min on arrival basis. Maybe if they came in a little lighter weight, 550, 600 pounds. We use multi-min on high-stress cattle, high-risk cattle. We're looking for a better response to our vaccine. For some of the cattle that we're looking for when we use multi-min, they come in, maybe they look a little mineral deficient. They come from parts of the country that are lower in certain mineral. So we use it on those cattle. Tends to make a big difference.
Doc Talk, brought to you by the Kansas Association of Wheat Growers and the Kansas Wheat Commission. Together, we are Kansas Wheat.
Folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and my guest today is Dr. Angela Daniels. And Dr. Daniels is an owner of a veterinary practice in Dalhart, Texas. They have a veterinary practice. They have a diagnostic laboratory. Her company also does contract research, and they do DHIA testing. And you're busy.
Yes, that's fair to say.
And so, but when you're out there in veterinary practice and we're talking about lowering that somatic cell count, we're talking about trying to keep it to make sure we get the free money, the bonuses in our milk, and provide a more nutritious product. What exactly are we talking about doing to lower that?
Well, we'll talk through a few steps today, but
Okay.
Number one step is controlling your contagious organisms. These are organisms that cause mastitis, and they're spread from cow to cow. So they're important to keep those at bay. And there are 3 of them that we're really concerned about with dairy cattle. You know, the first one being Staph aureus. The second one would be Strep agalactae, and the third one Mycoplasma bovis.
Okay.
Now, Strep agalactae is primarily handled at the dry-off time. Most dairy farms use dry cow therapy that really keeps that particular organism at bay. So it's not one that we talk about on a daily basis with the farms that I work with.
So when we're talking, and again, I'm going to go back to our non-dry off, meaning that this is the point in time where the cow is going to not be producing milk.
Correct.
And we're going to go back into a point in time where she's not milked until she has that calf.
Yeah, primarily 60 days before she has a calf, she gets to go on a short little vacation and rest up and allow her udder to regenerate so she can be a lactating, productive cow after she has that calf.
Yep.
So that's a really great time to address some of these issues,
You
for
bet.
sure, like strep agalactae.
Yep.
The other 2, however, are more problematic. Staphylococcus aureus likes to set up abscesses in the udder, and it's virtually impossible for older cows to be rid of this organism. So I like to talk with producers that might have some Staph aureus in their herd, as well as Mycoplasma bovis in their herd, to consider segregating those cows, or perhaps even having a culling program. If you've got extra heifers coming into your herd, it's a really good thing to take advantage of that situation and remove some cows that are problematic. And I want to remind everybody, these are contagious organisms. They'll be spread cow to cow via the milker's hands, via
Right.
flies, contaminated environment like bedding. So it's really important that we find out who these cows are and have a game plan to address that, because certainly these organisms will drive up your somatic cell counts and
Absolutely.
spread through the herd.
And so having good biosecurity is very important when you're talking about
is.
something that's spread cow to cow, whether it's clean bedding, cleaning equipment and different things like that.
It is, and if you're in a situation where you're purchasing animals, it's important to keep biosecurity in mind. It would be a great idea to maybe pre-screen some of these animals if they're lactating, get some milk cultures, get a history of the farm of what contagious organisms that they've had, perhaps take a look at their bulk tanks and just see exactly what is circulating in the herd.
It's great information. When we come back, we'll talk more with Dr. Daniels about lowering the somatic cell count on your farm.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Roy Fry Western Lifestyles brings the cowboy or cowgirl out in all of us. With a huge selection of must-have items, it doesn't matter if you're shopping for your horse, picking up some Western accessories to add that rustic charm to your home, or simply treating yourself. The knowledge and expertise to dress you your Western best is right here at Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, Highway 24 and Kansas Avenue in Topeka.
I'm Katie Allen with K-State Research and Extension and got to visit with Dr. Jude Capper, who is a special guest lecturer here at Kansas State. Dr. Capper's research focuses on beef sustainability and the impact of the beef and dairy industries on the environment.
The conventional beef industry has been sustainable and will continue to be because we know now far better how to treat our cattle, how to feed them, how to breed them, how to care for them every single day. So what that means is over the last 30 years or so, we use 12% less water per pound of beef, we use 33% less land per pound of beef, and the carbon footprint per pound has come down by 16%, which is a huge achievement on the behalf of the industry.
This is K-State Research and Extension.
At Wildcat Feeds, the only feed that matters is yours. We'll help you manage your feed costs with our custom blended nutrition. For more information, visit us online at wildcatfeeds.com and call us today for our current mineral specials. Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Doc Talk, brought to you by Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, dressing Northeast Kansas their Western best for almost 60 years.
Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson from Kansas State University, and my guest is Dr. Angela Daniels, who is a veterinarian and owner of Circle H headquarters in Dalhart, Texas. And you supply many different types of opportunities for dairy producers and clients and swine and different things in food animal. And I know that you're extremely busy, so to have you on the show is just wonderful.
Well, I'm glad to be here again. Thank
That's
you.
great. And we're going to talk now about lowering the somatic cell count and continue the discussion. And as we spoke during the break, we're going to talk about how you monitor that individual cow.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So I'll let you take it.
You bet. We talked earlier about keeping the contagious organisms at bay. The next thing that we want to talk about is looking at actual somatic cell counts. Our company does DHIA testing, so Dairy Herd Improvement Association testing. Not all of the farms that we work with are a member of DHIA, and that doesn't preclude you from being involved in this type of testing. So once a month, we recommend that you have a tester group come in and measure how much milk your cows are producing and collect milk samples. And we take a look at those and we look for somatic cell counts. And it's important to remember that all of this milk is pooled together. And so high-producing cows that have high somatic cell counts really sway that bulk tank somatic cell count. And so those are cows that we want to identify and have a game plan to work with.
So when you're, and it makes some sense that you're trying to identify those high somatic cell count animals that can probably really skew your data for the entire herd off to the right.
Correct. Yeah, so after we do a test, we like to make perhaps a hot list to look at cows that might be repeat violators 2 months in a row that would have high counts, or maybe she had an off month where she was coming down with a case of mastitis. Take a look at those cows, find out, did she visit the hospital? Did she have a mastitis event? Or maybe we need to pull her aside, take a look at her milk, and make a decision. Is she a cow that we should put into the hospital and do some treating to try to get her infection, which might not be a clinical infection, could be a subclinical infection, cleared up, so that we can lower the overall amount of somatic cells in that bulk tank to get you closer to that bonus.
And I think that you know, when we're starting, and I'm sure it's similar with mastitis in dairy cows as it is with respiratory disease in calves, but you have animals that are new cases, animals that are old cases, animals that are chronic cases, and probably getting those chronic cases identified and removed is
absolutely.
That's what we deal with a lot on respiratory disease.
Same concept. We like to look at 4 categories. New cases, cases that have resolved. Then we like to look at chronic cases, and then cows that are perfect and haven't had any cases. And obviously, we'd like to see the most amount of cows in that quadrant.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yes.
To get in those. Well, it's a great time for us to take a break.
Okay.
Great information, learning a lot, refreshing some of my dairy information, but you know, it's important. A lot of people, it's an important product for everybody in our country, and producing wholesome, safe milk is important.
Sounds good.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for watching Doc Talk. After the break, we'll wrap up with Dr. Angela Daniels.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. At Wildcat Feeds, the only feed that matters is yours. We'll help you manage your feed costs with our custom blended nutrition. For more information, visit us online at wildcatfeeds.com and call us today for our current mineral specials.
This is Agriculture Today from Kansas State University. In the quest to find out more information about the role of what are called beta-agonist products in cattle feedlot operations and finishing rations, K-State veterinarian Dan Thompson, who's been in on quite a bit of the dialogue over beta-agonists.
We've seen this in other species. The swine industry 15, 20 years ago discovered this fatigue pig syndrome, and that's kind of what we've called it now. Fatigue cattle syndrome is what we're calling the syndrome that we see as far as these cattle at the plant that are slow moving. We have to understand that when we have seen the issues with cattle with this fatigue cattle syndrome at packing facilities, it's during the summer months where we have heat stress.
This is K-State Research and Extension.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Been here for 42 years now. We run around 2,500 cows. Well, I bought a couple loads of cattle out of cows, black cows out of California. And most of these cows are kind of a off-color, rusty color. We're going to be processing these cows in the next few days, and at that time I will inject Multimin into them to help take care of their copper deficiency. I would recommend Multimin to any cow man, and it's been effective.
Doc Talk, brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Angela Daniels. And Dr. Daniels is owner of Circle H Headquarters, which is located in Dalhart, Texas, that provides veterinary services, contract research services. They have a veterinary diagnostic lab and DHIA testing, all for dairies and all around the area in the United States. And we're tickled to death to have you here and spend some time with us. Now, where are we going to go?
Well, let's put it all together. We talked about controlling contagious organisms.
Yep.
We talked about looking at individual somatic cell counts and addressing the high volume cows with high somatic cells.
Yep.
The last thing we want to talk about is answering the question of, why are all of these things in my herd? And when I think about lowering somatic cells and having good milk quality, it's really a lot of little things being put together, and it's paying attention to the little stuff. So the last question we really need to focus on and answer is, what does the environment look like? When she goes and lies down, what is that environment like? Is it clean? Is it something that's going to promote good udder health? What about the milking procedures? How often do I go in and refresh my milkers and do some retraining? And we don't have time today to talk about what your procedure is, but is it consistent? Do you dip and strip and wipe and apply, or do you strip and dip? None of that matters at this point, but is it consistent and are they clean? What do your towels look like that you're wiping off the teats with? Are they clean? Do they smell fresh? Would you wipe your face with them? If the answer to that is no, then you probably don't want to be wiping off the teats of your cows with them.
Right.
So it's really putting it all together. It's all of those small things that make a huge difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I start to think about, Gary Gentry, who managed Lubbock Feed Yard, used to say the three most inconsistent things in the world are cattle, weather, and people. And
we have all three.
Yeah, and when we're dealing with something like this, they're all three such big factors. It sounds like on the somatic cell count that making sure that people are properly trained, and I'm sure that you work with people on farms to train the trainer or train the employees when you're out.
Right. It's a constant progression of continuing and reminding people of the things that we want them to do. But I like to think of a dairy as being a large orchestra, and there's a lot of things going on at the same time, and everybody's role is extremely important. So when those cows are in the parlor, we should have somebody grooming the stalls or taking care of their bedding, adding bedding. Then the feeder needs to come by and feed them, and that's really important because when they go back, they're going to be hungry and thirsty, and their teat orifices are still open. So we want them to go and spend some time at the feed bunk while that udder begins to refill with milk. Those teats hopefully were dipped very, very well, and that's another small thing, but we're going to give her a good half hour for those teat orifices to close so that organisms can't get back up into that udder. So it's a big orchestra of a lot of different things going on, and one little thing that gets thrown off makes a really big difference.
Well, thanks a million for joining us today on the show.
You're welcome.
It was great information. Folks, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you want to know more about Doc Talk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson from Kansas State University. You've been watching Doc Talk. We're sure glad you joined us, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.